Hi, and welcome back to DIY My Way. Even though my shop's been finished for about a year now, I'm still outfitting the inside. And one of the things I need to do is get my electrical power distributed where I want. I have plenty of outlets throughout the shop, but what I need is a way to get that power to a workstation easily. And so I've decided to add an additional retractable extension cord reel. This one is from Copper Peak. It is a 40-foot extension cable and it is 12 gauge heavy duty.
I settled on this Copper Peak extension cord reel after looking at quite a few options available on Amazon. There's a link to it in the video description. At the time I bought it, it was priced at $99.99, which is reasonable for an extension cord reel with these specs. Speaking of which, here are some of the highlights. The retractable cord is 40 feet, which I'll demonstrate shortly. The input cable is 3 feet long. It can be mounted on the ceiling or a wall. The cable conductors are 12 gauge. It's rated for 15 amps. Like most extension cord reels, it has an adjustable cord stopper. This allows you to set how many feet of cord hang from the reel when fully retracted, in case you need to mount it high on a wall or on the ceiling, so you can make sure your cord is always within reach. It can swivel 180 degrees at the mounting bracket. It has a 15 amp circuit breaker, which in theory will save you from having to make a trip to the breaker box by tripping before your breaker box circuit breaker trips. The case is made of heavy-duty polypropylene. There is also an LED power indicator. And by the way, it is also UL listed. It comes with decent-sized cement anchors, but the screws shown here aren't up to the task. This was a frequent complaint about it in the reviews, but Copper Peak must have listened because mine came with beefy lag screws instead.
Of course, we have a thank you note. What looks to be like installation instructions. Mounting bolts, looks like we've got concrete anchors and lag screws, lag bolts. And there we go. And we've got that little air pack bag to protect a little bit. It's actually pretty heavy. Not sure how many pounds it is, but it's got some heft to it. And it's got a 3-prong outlet and it's supposed to light up when it's plugged in, so we'll find out about that in a minute. Looks like it has a heavy gauge mounting bracket here. Doesn't look like it comes off easily. I guess these unscrew, I don't know for sure. Let's measure the distance between the holes, which it turns out to be, if I go from edge to edge, 7 inches and 7 inches and 1/8.
I already have a 30-foot 12-gauge extension cord reel on the back wall of my shop, over by my welding table. For reference, here's where that is on my shop layout. Here's where I'm about to install this one. And later on I may add a third one right about here. After pre-drilling pilot holes 7 1/8 inches apart, I used an impact driver with a 1/2 inch socket to drive the lag screws and washers, leaving them sticking out about 3/8 of an inch from the wall. I make sure the washers are out from the wall as far as possible, then try to set the keyholes of the mounting bracket over them, which is easier said than done. The top one went on fairly easily, but the bottom one needed a little encouragement from my knife. Then I used a 1/2 inch racket wrench to tighten the lag screws up snug. And then plugged the cord into the outlet I had installed for the reel. Let's test this thing out. Notice that it has roller guides to protect the cable from wear. There, it locked in place when I stopped. That's encouraging. Now let's see if it's really 40 feet long and if I have any problems retracting it. Sounds kind of like a pig oinking when I pull it out, doesn't it? That's all there is. So do I have 40 feet? Well, the reel is about 36 feet from the front wall of the shop, which is 30 feet wide. So the hypotenuse of that right triangle is about 46 feet. It so happens that I'm about 6 feet from the corner of the shop, so yes, it looks like I have 40 feet. Great. So now how does it retract? When retracting the cord on an extension cord reel, it can be challenging to keep the cord from bunching up on one side of the reel or the other, which can cause it to jam. If that happens, just pull it back out a few feet and give it a sideways whip motion away from the side it's bunching up on as you let it retract. This usually fixes the problem. So here's how I typically use this thing. I pull it over the work area where I need it and pull out enough slack so that it lays on the floor and doesn't become a trip hazard. I'm plugging in my metal chop saw and my miter saw and table saw through a vacuum control switch. So far it has worked quite well, powering the tools I need where I need them.
So time will tell whether this is going to hold up well or not, but my initial impression is it's pretty well made, and even though I have to fiddle with the mechanism a little bit, like every other one that I've had or worked with, it seems to work out pretty well. So I'm optimistic that this is going to be a great addition to my shop. So if I've inspired you to get a retractable extension cord reel, you might want to consider this one. It seems to be a very good value. So if you found this video helpful, I hope you'll click that like button, leave a comment, and by all means, please subscribe. And if you want to know when I post new videos, then click that little bell. And as always, thank you for watching.